then all of a sudden it's all about awareness and your focus.
I feel that everyone has the gift of psychic ability to one extent or another.
How did you all get into being professional psychics and intuitives?
The first time I had an opportunity to do it professionally, I was in Buckhead and I was attending a psychic fair, and I talked to the proprietor and she said, I said, well, I'm psychic, and she basically said, prove it, and she had me read 2 of the psychics there, and I was successful, and she said, you're hired. So I began participating in psychic fairs in Buckhead. That place is now gone, but I learned a lot doing that.
That's amazing.
I actually was having a reading in a facility in Roswell, and the lady was doing readings for 40 odd years, and sat down and she was doing my reading. She says, I've never had cards like this, she said. If anybody should be sitting in my seat, it should be you. You should be doing this. And at that stage I was becoming aware of that I had psychic abilities. I've had them my whole life, but never used them in the capacity that I had the opportunity to do so. And so it ended up anyways, the lady that owned the facility asked me would I like to come and do some readings, and the time that I actually went to do readings and got paid for them, I was actually sitting in the seat of the lady that said I should be sitting in her seat. So that's really how it all began for me, professionally. But I'd been doing it for years, but didn't know, what I was doing. It was just that people had come to me for advice, and just right off the top of my head, I was always able to come up with solutions. So that's how it started for me. But professionally, I started, I think it was in 2002, professional.
Yeah. So I've read on Pat's site that you're a natural born psychic. Yeah.
But like I always say, like I'm a round square, or a round peg trying to fit into a square peg. I never fit in. I always felt outside of everything. I always felt different, but I always was able to kind of tell things about people. And my forte, and it still continues to be my forte, is getting people from where they are to where they need to be. So I was always about solutions to problems. For example, had a friend that had a kid that she always needed advice about, and I was always able to just come up and she'd say, how do you do that? I said, I don't know, it just comes, and I never really knew until I actually started meditating, really on a regular basis, meditation, and that really started opening me up to understand what my gifts were.
That's awesome. And then Pat, you also came from a lineage of psychics, right? What was it like that for you?
My aunt was what I would call a super psychic. She was able to see the dead. She was able to move things, physically move things from one place to another. She was able to do astral projection, which is leaving the body, whenever she wanted. And she had a great sense of humor. And so she laughed a lot about what she would see. And I learned to bring humor into the process where I could, where it was appropriate, because of her teachings. And my family, my siblings are in denial that they have the gift, but they do. And my mother is also in denial, but I know clearly that she does, because I've never been able to get away with anything in my life, because she's always aware. And my dad was able to see people for who they were very quickly. He was in sales, and so he was able to assess people very quickly. So I think that I have both gifts that way as well.
So it was pretty open then about the abilities.
It was the fact that my aunt was as skilled as she was. She had the gifts. She had incredible gifts. So that I couldn't be pegged as weird by my family, because I came from the same family. We all had the gift.
Do you think that everybody can be psychic? Can anybody develop this ability? Or do you think that some people have to try harder than others, or what do you think?
I think that trying is probably not the appropriate word to use. When you try, that puts you in the way of the vision. I feel that everyone has the gift of psychic ability to one extent or another. I think that we were all blessed with it. I think that if we listen to the inner voice, if we listen to the gut, we say, I'm going, or you have a hunch, that's a premonition a lot of the time. So if you don't second guess it and step in the way and say, oh, well, this can't possibly be right, well, then it won't be right because you're already second guessing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. You answered another one of my questions there too. Because I was going to ask you that in developing my own intuition, that sometimes I'll have things come to me, but then I'll start doubting it. I'll start being like, I don't know if that really makes sense, making stuff up in your head, stuff.
Well, the other thing is too, it might be a case of words coming to you, or a picture coming to you, or a sound, and you're probably thinking inside your head, what was that? Oh, that was nothing. And in fact, it was definitely something. You just chose not to listen to it at the time.
Yeah, that's how I often explain energy to people about like chi and prana, that chi is all around us and we can see it all the time. We're just not paying attention to it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
How can we tap into our intuition for somebody who's a beginner and wants to start allowing themselves to tap into their intuition? How can they do that?
Well, I feel like it begins with meditation. And the key for me for meditation is to be silent. That means to shut down all the chatter inside of your head and just be. That's not easy for people to do because they think that they need to be busy with their brains, and that's not always the case. So for myself, I revel in the silence, and that's where I learn. That's where I see. And I'm going to pass it on to you.
Yeah, because for me, it's completely the opposite. I have fantastic experiences in meditation when I'm in a group, because the more the energy is better. But for me, I'm better with guided meditation than I am with silent meditation, because the chatter just continuously goes and goes if I'm doing silent. So I love guided meditation, and I think, when you're starting out as a beginner with meditation, I think you have to just experiment to find out what suits you, because some people might just like listening to music. Some people might listen, like for Pat, I do know even with when she ever did guided meditation, it depends on the tone of the voice, but to me it's just all about finding, the right kind of meditation, and that could take a while, but any kind of meditation, is good, and even like just sitting and breathing. Some people are fantastic with the breathing thing. That's not one that I like, but I like to do the 2 and 3 breaths. But people just do meditation just based on their breathing. Again, that's not my thing. My thing is guided meditation. I love guided meditation, but it took me a long time to figure out that it was guided meditation. I experienced quite a lot of different kinds of meditation till I figured out, I'm good in a group, and I'm good with somebody else facilitating the meditation. I'm not even good at facilitating meditation.
Okay.
And also for beginners, I would like to bring up the idea of journaling.
Yeah.
If you hear something, if you see something, if something seems a little strange, write it down, date it, time it.
Mm-hmm.
See what pops up later. See if there's a correlation between life events and what you've written down.
Mm-hmm. And dream journals are great. First thing in the morning, when you wake up, instead of jumping up, just kind of open your eyes slowly and just think about what are the first thoughts that come into your head about what you've just dreamt about. If you can, some people remember the dreams like that. Some people just get it the first thing in the morning. Sometimes for me, I can get it during the day. If something happens, then my dream is out kind of thing. But writing down the first couple of things that come to your head in the morning, and looking back over a month or a week or whatever, you'll ask yourself questions, and your answers could be in your dream journal, you know. So it's good to write everything down.
And also I feel like our deceased relatives will visit us in our dreams, because in a dream state it's easier for people to understand and handle than if they were to show up in full 3D form in front of them. So they visit us in our dreams and they communicate with us that way. And I think that that is a gift, just to let us know that they are good on the other side.
And it's about testing it as well. Like I always say, for example, before my mom died, I said, you know, when you come back, I want you to come back as a purple butterfly. And it doesn't have to be an actual living purple butterfly. She had no idea, absolutely no idea about the purple butterfly, and she'd done me a painting.
But I did it based on an actual purple butterfly that I found while skating on the Silver Comet. I said, "What's that?" And it was just sitting there on the trail, and I picked it up and took a picture. And it was from another part of the world. A hurricane must have blown it in or something.
Wow.
I was stunned. I thought, this is a purple butterfly. I've never seen one here. So that was really interesting for me. I thought, here's a purple butterfly, and it's visiting me.
And you didn't even know before before you gave me the painting. It was when she gave me the painting. I said, oh my God. So, you know, you ask a question like, even for example, your angels, you know, can you let me find a penny today? And then all of a sudden it's all about awareness and your focus to be able to, because you could pass 1,000,000 pennies and not be aware of it, but when you were aware of it and asking for it, you'll spot the pennies, you know. And it's always about when you're not trusting, because on the back of a penny it says trust in God, and it's God too, whatever you choose to call God, telling you to trust in the universe or whatever, you know, trust that your loved ones are taking care of you as well, or looking out for you, whatever. But yeah, it's all about asking, you know, because you know, if you don't ask, you're not going to receive. So it's about testing your abilities as well. And it's one sure way. I mean, I did that years ago, and then I went to a thing where I was floored because we were at this retreat, and we were going to a morning thing, and all these pennies were all over the place. I was like, what? Oh my God, like, you know. But this lady had been told to put pennies all over the place, and it was all about her teaching us to trust in God and to trust in ourselves and to trust in the angels. And so when you find a penny, it's like, don't doubt yourself, you know. Well, that's always my sign anyways, you know. When I find a penny, I found one in the yard the other day.
There you go.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And do you think the purple butterfly, do you think that was really your mom?
Oh,
Or do you
absolutely, absolutely. And another friend done a purple butterfly on a card for me, and she had no idea. And I could see, you know, I might open a magazine and find a purple butterfly, but I might have, you know, unconsciously asked my mom a question, or, you know, looking for, asking her like, okay, are you with me today? You know, just let me know you're with me today.
Okay.
And something like that might show up, or
A sign.
yeah, or you might see, it could be anything, like walk in a store and somebody will come towards you with a butterfly on their sweater or whatever, you know, or a butterfly in their hair, or a kid or whatever. It's just being aware and paying attention. Because if you're not going to pay attention, you're going to miss the signs, and that's what a lot of people are not listening to their own intuition. That's what Pat was talking about. Being aware, just being consciously aware of what, you know, your gut is telling you and listening to it.
I used to be a reporter, and whenever my gut said, you're in danger, I'd get out. I always listen to my gut, and gut is also intuition if you want to look at it that way. It's your early warning system that things may not be kosher for you at that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I listened to that and I found like the few times when I didn't listen to it, I regretted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. In different spiritual communities, I see people asking about opening their third eye. It's a talk in a lot of like new age communities, opening the third eye, activating the third eye. And I hear that's linked with intuition, right? So, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I've actually done that in meditation before, and you kind of stare up at that center point between your brows with your eyes closed, and you can actually see it after a while if you're patient. It's just another way of saying that you have intuition for me, but I have actually seen my third eye. And it was purple.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a lot of the time I just only have to close my eyes and I'll see the colours and I'll see, you know, swirls of things. But that's again with meditation. You can do special meditations to open the third eye, but in order to open the third eye, you have to meditate. You know, but it is all about focusing on the third eye, and it's about opening up all your chakras as well. So that the energy can come through.
I'm wondering, how do you feel things are going with the collective right now? Like energetically, where do you feel the collective is at?
I keep having high hopes that people will become more aware. I've seen instances of it where entire crowds reach a point of togetherness. That happened at a jazz concert in Piedmont Park. Years ago, I said, let's all work together and bring some sunshine in on this concert. And I had half of the crowd going with me, and we stopped the rain for an hour, which is perfect. So I believe that once people realize that they can work together for greater good, that more people will come along. There's a lot, we're all individuals, and so that makes it kind of challenging for us. But I believe that I'm seeing more awareness around me with people in general, and so I have high hopes that more will come along.
Yeah, for me, like even 10 years ago, you wouldn't even tell anybody that you were psychic. But now, psychics are everywhere. I think more people are opening up to their spiritual. I mean, there's a difference between religion, and I think an awful lot of people get confused with all of that. It's all about spirituality. It's all about what you put out is what you get back, and the universe doesn't know the difference between I want and I don't want. So I think within the last 10 years, it's big. I believe more people have opened up to the spiritual side rather than I think more people are coming out of the closet. Would that be the right way to put it, I suppose? And sharing, where you always put a lid on it. I never told anybody that I was psychic growing up or anything like that. My grandparents, my aunts, they used to all do tea leaves and palms and all of that, and they never told anybody. That was just like in my grandmother's kitchen, so yeah, I really truly believe that things have really changed probably in the last 5 years. I think it's been, people are more aware of what you think is what you create. So be careful of your thoughts and all of that sort of thing. I think yoga and meditation and as you said, all the Tai Chi, and I think people working with energy, Reiki and all of that. I think it's the new age is really opening up, especially here in Georgia.
Well, I would like to add too that books like The Secret and movies like The Secret were very helpful in opening up the idea of conscious manifestation and right thinking. And I believe that has also made a difference with people. They realize that maybe there's something bigger,
Mm-hmm.
something better. And if they focus away from the negative, that does help them create a better reality for themselves.
I think Oprah Winfrey had a big role in all of that.
Deepak Chopra?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
getting
think
the
she.
secret out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think she changed a lot. You know, she made it okay to talk about. You
Right.
know, that it's not so hush hush and kind of what would you say?
The Oprah effect.
Yeah.
It was on Oprah. Don't
Yeah,
you know about
yeah,
it?
Yeah. So when you hear it, when you say talk about things that were on Oprah, like it wasn't so far out. But when you were talking about what you were feeling and what you were seeing, and you know, that was far out. You know, you were eccentric, and all that sort of thing. Oh, she's weird, like you know. But I think she made a huge difference in the consciousness, awareness of the greater.